how are you getting the work in as a wrestler? Is it happening like before the shows that you're reffing on?
I knew enough about wrestling. I grew up in it. I had I had refereed for a summer, and so there was no need for them to take me in the ring. And okay, now I had already learned how to take all the bumps. Now where you really learn is in the ring. That's where you really learn. You learn it doing it, and I feel sorry for a lot of guys today because you can have a match and call a match and do whatever, with a bunch of people that are your peers sitting around that ring. But you don't really learn how to wrestle until you're sitting in front of a live crowd. The summer of '75 is when Dick Murdoch said he could get me booked with Bill Watts and made Bill understand that I was just starting, that I had refereed the previous summer. And of course, he knew I was a kid who grew up in the wrestling. So I wasn't like a total idiot, coming in there. And so, and that back then, it's like, and so I started, and I would be like I would be on the opening match every night, wherever we were wrestling, but the guy across the ring was a veteran, somebody who would call the match. And that's how you really learn this game. If you're not in front of a live crowd, you can learn some, but you learn it by doing it. And that's the way. That's old school. One guy was a guy named Bruiser Bob Sweetan.
Oh yeah.
And although Sweetan was not the greatest personality in the world. I mean, he was kind of I don't know. He was out there, but he could go.
Jake has said that Bruiser Bob helped him early on in his career, but he said as a human being, he was a piece of shit.
Yeah, pretty much. Thanks, Jake.
Jake can sum it up pretty well.
Yeah, but just like Jake said, he was great. He was good, very good wrestler.
So you were learning to take bumps kind of on the fly, because you're going from being a referee to them saying like, okay, let's get into the ring.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I had there were a couple of Japanese guys that came to work because the Funks were they were booking all of the American talent for All Japan Pro Wrestling. And so a couple of the Japanese guys came over, and there were 2 or 3 times that I got in the ring with them. I learned how to arm drag. I learned how to slam somebody. I learned how to take a slam and everything. Yeah, that's the whole deal. It's like a cat always lands on his feet. A wrestler always lands flat back with his head up.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and you just learn it, and it just becomes second nature. And hitting the ropes and all that stuff. So, the biggest advantage I had was, when I look back at it, and I've told Bill Watts this, my first boss as a wrestler was probably one of the sharpest guys on the block. Bill Watts is a sharp guy.
Mm-hmm.
Very intelligent, graduated from Oklahoma, big guy himself, had been a wrestler, and he knew how to do it. And he surrounded himself with good talent. He knew what good talent was, and that's who he brought into his territory. And so, I might be on the first or second match, but the other guy in the ring with me is, like a 6 or 7 year veteran, and he may not be in the main event, but he knows what the hell he's doing. And that's where you learn, and so you learn it by doing it. And, traditionally the heel, the villain in the match calls the shots. He calls the whole match. I don't know what they do today, and I don't really care, but that's the way it used to be. And so all I did when and of course you start out a young guy, and especially me back then, I was such a baby face. I mean, I look some of like my first wrestling pictures. It's like I wondered if I looked like I was maybe 17 or 18. But anyway, I started.
So, Ted, you're coming from college football, so you're no stranger to physical strain on your body. How did
Mhm.
your body react after your first time taking bumps, hitting the ropes, all that kind of thing?
Well, I mean, hitting the ropes is something that you learn to do. And actually, I think I got a little bruise on my side because it's not a natural movement. But once you've done that over and over and over again, it's you don't even realize it anymore. And I learned, you learn how to take all the bumps and to throw to do an arm drag and how you take a turnbuckle the right way and just all the basics. And but I pretty well knew all of that stuff when I started.
Ted, your early training and stepping into the ring, obviously, taking the ropes and stuff like that, it'll beat you up, and taking bumps, obviously, it can be hard on your back. What would you say was the most difficult part of your early training? The stuff that you're like, oh boy, I don't know about this.
Marcus, I mean, there was never anything that there's nothing I didn't look forward to.
Wow.
I mean, we didn't get in the ring every day. I mean, like the Japanese, the Japanese guys, those guys, but they put their young guys through hell. Those guys do, oh my gosh, Hindu squats and doing all kinds of stuff. I basically started by getting in the ring and having a match in front of a live crowd.
Incredible.
It's old school, but again, the guy across the ring knows that I'm a rookie. He knows, he's got to lead me, and because and we have our own language out there. We talk all the time, and so basically, I picked it up fast.
Pretty
It's
remarkable. Outside of the ring, what were you doing to get your body ready, or where it needed to be as far as cardio, weight training, stuff like that?
nothing,
Really?
nothing. I mean, you're talking about a different day, and I mean, it's like you can look at me throughout my wrestling career, and there came a point where, uh, I started working out on a regular basis, and I got good shoulders and good traps, but I never looked like a bodybuilder. And if you watch amateur wrestlers, they're in really good shape, but they don't look like bodybuilders.
Hmm.
And so yeah, I mean, what I did is I got in the ring every night and had a match.
And that's what worked your cardio?
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, it's kind of like, but if you're wrestling, when you go back old school, I'm in the ring with a lot of guys. I'm not bouncing around that ring like ding, 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 ding. That's what, if we want to have a discussion about what's wrong with wrestling today, I can do that too.
Yeah, the
I
fast
see a
pace.
lot of guys get in the ring and they do all these spots and none of it means crap. And it looks bad. Nobody sells anything. It's just like one bump after the next. That's not the story, man. It's when you grab a headlock on a guy and you take him over and you sit in that headlock, and he tries to fight his way out, or the whole thing is, if it were real, how would it look? And they don't do it anymore.
Right.
They don't. Very rarely. So
So yeah, you were more focused on storytelling, grabbing a hold, working slowly. That's the thing in wrestling that we always hear is like, hey kid, if you think you're moving too fast, slow, or if you think you're moving too slow, slow down. Meaning essentially take your time and talk to your opponent when you're in the ring. It's okay to grab a hold. You don't have to be constantly moving or doing something, correct?
exactly. That's it. Grab a hold. It's like, and I would watch. That's the other thing I did is I watched all the if I was not on the first match, or on the second, third, or fourth match, I watched the matches before me. So when I went out there, I wouldn't repeat what they've already seen.
Hmm.
It's like if I watch one match, a guy works You know, he works the leg, you know, and the other guy works the head. Well, then I'm going out there. I'm gonna grab an arm. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna go out and work the same holes and body parts. That's it's funny, but it's true.